Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit homegain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to homegain.com. Welcome back to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, General Manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate 360 is designed to build the Washington, D.C.'s housing and credit markets one house at a time. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. It's time for this week's Real-Time Real Estate, and this segment was brought to you by HomeGain. HomeGain is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting real estate questions answered. Go to homegain.com to see what I'm talking about. All you have to do is type in your home address, and you'll get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. It's a great way to monitor your home's value, and it's totally free. So when you get a chance today, make sure you go there and check it out. It's homegain.com. So there was an interesting paper authored by Julia Isaacs of the Brookings Institute for organization First Focus, which was titled The Ongoing Impact of Foreclosures on Children. And it was interesting because Ms. Isaacs quantified the number of children that have been impacted. It's some 2.3 million children have already lost their homes to foreclosure. 3 million additional children are at risk of losing their home. And she noted 4 ways that the foreclosures may negatively affect children. And I think this is kind of important because a lot of the time, as an adult or the person that is the borrower on a mortgage, you have all these things going through your head on trying to figure out what the best thing to do is. You feel like you're swamped with all these bills and you don't know what to do. You have the potential to lose your home and you're really unsure of what the best course of action is. And the first thing that she said, and it's most obvious, is that families receiving foreclosure notices are much more likely to move than other families, and the children who move are obviously less likely to do well in school. That's pretty obvious. So, it's almost like the shame of having those notices of eviction and whatnot put on the door is something that you probably want to avoid. The second is that homeowners receiving a foreclosure notice are under a lot of financial and psychological stress, obviously, as they struggle to stay in their house, and if that fails, to find a new home quickly. So, once you get evicted, typically you have, zero time to go out there and be able to find a new place to live. And obviously being able to transition your kids from one school to the next, it's just not a good, it's not very, very conducive to helping your kids transfer from one school to the next. The third is that foreclosures and the housing instability have a negative impact on the physical as well as mental health, with studies finding higher rates of non-elective visits to emergency rooms and hospitals in zip codes with the highest foreclosure rates, as well as a strong association between housing instability and postponement of needed health care visits and necessary medications. And the last was finally, because the foreclosures are often highly concentrated in certain neighborhoods, children living in or near foreclosed homes may suffer the consequences of living in neighborhoods with more vacant houses, higher crime rates, lower social cohesion, and a lower tax base. So, with all that being said, those are a ton of reasons for why it's not good for kids to be, thrown in the mix of a foreclosure. Now, obviously, the question that you might have is, well, what can I do? What can I do to prevent that? And I always tell people the best thing that you can do is be proactive about the situation. And, obviously, most people the first thing they turn to is a loan modification, where you try to get the bank to change the terms of your loan so that you can potentially be able to handle a lower mortgage payment. Now, I will tell you that those, for the most part, are very unsuccessful, and the majority of modifications that end up going through end up redefaulting anyway. So the next best thing for what you can do is short sale your home, and this is very common. This is very common across the industry now. Many banks are have finally gotten smart about short sales and started expediting them a little bit faster. So now a lot of the time that it takes to short sell your home, it's no longer 9 months to a year. Although there's plenty of those cases still around, you could short sell your home in anywhere from maybe 90 days to 6 months. Now, what that short sale means is that you're able to get the lender to agree to take a short payoff. So if you owed $300,000, but the property is only worth $200,000 now, that they're agreeing to accept that loss of the $100,000, and you're able to prevent yourself from having to go through foreclosure. Now, why it's important? Well, I would say number one, because you have some sort of a timeline. So you're able to get a contract on your property. You kind of know when you need to be out of the house. You can plan for where you need to move. And there's, if you have a contract, most of the time it takes at least probably 69 to 120 days for you to actually get that short sale approved by the bank. You have plenty of time to kind of try to line up where you're headed. But secondly, as far as what it's going to do to your overall financial and credit situation, if you short sale your home, and let's say you haven't missed any payments. If you haven't missed any payments and you're able to short sell your home because you knew that there was an impending hardship, you knew that you were basically wiping out all your savings just to be able to throw it all back into this house, which you knew you were ultimately going to lose anyway, then you have the ability to still short sell that home and not have it affect your credit negatively. Because if there's no late payments on that mortgage, then it's actually not going to be rated on the credit report as a derogatory item. If you do miss payments, it's not necessarily the end of the world because it's still not going to rate it as a foreclosure. Foreclosure, once you get that rating on your credit report, you're at least 3 years removed from being able to buy another house again. Now, I know a lot of people, that's probably the last thing that's on your mind is being able to buy another house again after you have to go through this. But you're 3 years removed if you have a foreclosure on your credit report. If you have a short sale and you have late payments, you're 2 years removed from being able to buy another home, with obviously having reestablished credit after that. If you don't miss any payments, but you actually short sell your home, then you can actually pretty much buy as soon as, tomorrow. So there's a lot of options out there, and I think that, what it really boils down to is don't bury your head in the sand and feel like, you're out on that remote island by yourself. You're not. You just need to be talking to professionals that understand, the different ways that you can go about, getting rid of a property that's causing you tremendous hardship right now. Obviously, I'm not an advocate of letting it go to foreclosure because it's going to impact your credit for a long time. And, number two, you have a lot of implications as far as you having children and everything else, as far as, what it's going to do to the neighborhood values. Obviously, you don't really care about that, but short selling it is a much better situation for you and the bank. Now, everybody always asks the question, well, what are the implications as far as for taxes and stuff like that? Well, I always tell people to consult a CPA. Some banks will issue deficiency judgments where they can come after you for the difference. Sometimes they'll waive those. That's on a case-by-case basis, but the best thing that you can do is to be working with a group of professionals. They'll make sure they have your best interest in mind. And, I've actually seen transactions where they go down to the home stretch, and they got a contract, the bank's approved it, but then all of a sudden they want to come after the borrower for a deficiency judgment. And at that point in time, the borrower decides that, hey, you know what? I don't want a deficiency judgment for $100,000 slinging over my head. I'm just not going to go through with that. You have that option. You're not bound just because you decide to put your house on the market and try to short sell your home. You don't have to go through with it. Ultimately, you're not going to know, what the bank's going to decide, whether they want to come after you for the deficiency or not, until later in the transaction. I know a lot of people get frustrated because they want to kind of know up front, hey, what's going to happen. All we can kind of do is lay out all the pros and cons and what we've seen over a period of time, and then you can make an educated decision from there. Lewis, there's a lot of people out there that, I'm sure it's obviously we know that basically, 1 out of 4 on every, and it's actually moved up to almost 1 out of every 3 people are upside down on their mortgage right now. So moving forward, I'm imagining out in San Francisco that, prices have come down dramatically, and I'm sure that's probably the same situation that we have in the DC metro area. Moving forward, there's going to be likely a lot of people that need to get out of their home for whatever reason it may be. In the DC metro area, we have a lot of military families that need to obviously move from here to go somewhere else to relocate, and they're having problems, trying to sell their home because they're upside down. Their option is most likely going to be to short sale because they're not going to, number one, you don't want to default on a VA loan because you'll lose your eligibility. But a short sale is it's a great option for people that are really not sure what they should do. And as far as the consequences of the short sale, they're a lot a lot. They're not as bad as doing a foreclosure. Foreclosure ultimately can ruin your credit for a long time. And for somebody, especially with this low interest rate environment, if you handle it properly, you could potentially set yourself up to be able to buy as soon as tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to say that that's everybody, but I've seen a lot of cases where you're able to get a short sale done because you see the impending hardship coming and you're proactive with the bank. The bank accepts the hardship and you don't actually have to miss any payments before they accept that short sale. So, that's not all the time, but it does happen. So guys, if you're looking, to start your home search and, you're trying to find a realtor to work with, I always recommend, checking out HomeGain. Where can they go, Lewis, to check out and evaluate different realtors and try to figure out who's the best fit for them?
The best place to go is homegain.com, and if you're doing a short sale, you want to get a short sale specialist, you go to homegain.com, and on the left side, there's a Find a Realtor module where you can fill out your profile and send it to realtors anonymously, and they'll write back to you based on what you put in, how they will help you buy or sell a home. And then you can also get a free instant home valuation at homegain.com. You can check out listings on homegain.com, and you can also check out many of our home values, home improvement surveys on homegain.com. It's a great resource. I recommend it. I'm the general manager. Please go to homegain.com. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Lewis. Have a great week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Remember, we'll be back again next Monday, as every Monday from 2 to 3 p.m. here on 1580 a.m. If you guys ever have any questions or concerns or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to me is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Like I said, if you have any issues regarding trying to get your credit fixed, if you're trying to refinance your home or purchase a home, if you're contemplating, whether a short sale is for you, I'm here to help. If I don't have the answers, I will find the person that does. It's 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. We'll be back again next week, guys. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.